Sometimes we do have to make changes in our life, in our path, in order to bring awareness to some of the deep traumas or deep programming that's been lying deep beneath the surface. We're so distracted with our external reality. Sometimes that external reality becomes just almost rote, like it's just repetitive. To some extent, it's unconscious. You're going through your day unconsciously. And when we make changes to that patterning, to those patterns, to what we do on a day in, day out basis, it gives rise to just an amazing opportunity to dive in and uncover some of the deep programming layers that have just been buried beneath our reality or our life as we've known it for a long, long time. In this video, I want to talk about what I've been experiencing since it's been about a year and a half since I sold my accounting practice and left the world of accounting and taxes. Okay, so that was just a monumental shift for me. I know I've done previous videos on that process and what it's looked like, but now that I've been away from my old career for a year and a half, I want to kind of update you as to what I've been experiencing and what I've been going through. If you have not seen any of those videos, there will be a link to that playlist in the description. You can click on that and check those out. So again, it's been a year and a half, and I went from being a really left brain thinker, analytical accountant, to diving into this current profession, which is in alignment with my life purpose, which is healing and growing and navigating this ascension process. Now, this journey for me began years and years ago, with 2018 being a big explosion in terms of my growth and my awareness and becoming aware of my multidimensional energy aspects of me that were existing or exist on higher frequency planes, such as my star guides, my Pleiadian guide, Arcturian guides, so many different ET guides, my higher self, of course, my spirit guides, even communicating with deceased loved ones. That really opened up in full force, came online about 5-6 years ago. And that created a huge shift in my path and started to gradually shift me away from traditional timelines in terms of career and earning and things like that, and got me into more of a healing and expansive journey in more of an allowing state. Now, navigating that change has been challenging. It still is challenging, but I noticed that it took a while after I left my accounting practice to start to let go of the programming of constantly having to do or constantly having to anticipate or plan everything out in the future. Coming from an accounting and tax background, that's primarily what I did. Was we would do a lot of planning, things of that nature, right? Trying to anticipate how things were going to go, what transactions were going to occur, and how to best minimize the tax effects and things like that, right? So there was a lot of future planning and practicing, a lot of left brain analytical type stuff. But you move to a career that is really more right brain, more feeling, more healing, getting in and learning more about yourself. You pull away from the distractions of the external reality. And that's what I did. But it took a period of time to really get out of that mindset of having to try to create a plan for the future in a new life or a new career, and trying to stick to that and trying to create a certain outcome from that. So what I've been experiencing recently is slowing it down and detaching from that mindset. That's a lot of programming. We're programmed since birth, right? Things have got to go a certain way. You have to do this, you have to do that. You have to follow what others expect of you. But when you awaken and you realize that you're more than this human avatar, you start to realize that you are in control and you are very empowered, and you could start to make decisions that are in alignment with what makes you feel good. That was something that I had to go through when I had the choice. I was faced with the choice of stepping away from a very successful career and stepping into a life of healing and assisting others on their ascension path. And for me, that wasn't even a decision. It was just a knowing deep within that that is the path. That is the path of the planet. That was my path, and that's the direction I needed to go in. But yet we still have we're still embroiled with this programming from our old lives of how things are supposed to unfold and supposed to work. So over the last year and a half, I've been really working through that. Recently, I believe I've made great strides in being able to finally take a step back and slow things down and let things just kind of come to me and happen, instead of my mind trying to force things or create things to look a certain way or to create a path that maybe is trying to unfold naturally, but my mind wants to take control of what that's going to look like. I've been able to recently take a step back from that and simply be in more of a slower, allowing state. Now, when you do this, you're able to really start to feel the subtle energy within your body. The things that are in there, the programming starts to come up about, okay, you're just sitting, you're chilling, you're relaxing, you're meditating, whatever that looks like for you. Your mind may start to go off and say, well, we need to be doing this, we need to be doing that. You're no longer working. We have to create an income. We have to solve this problem, right? And I went through that for a long, long time. Just now, a year and a half later, that is starting to yield, starting to relax, because I'm starting to see opportunities that weren't available to me when I was in that mindset of having to try to create an expected future based on a very limited set of rules, very limited rule set. So when we start to trust in our path, trust in our journey, we start to sit and feel the emotions, find these energy blockages and start to work through them, and your body starts to rise in frequency. You start to attract higher frequency light, right? That's the law of vibration, the law of attraction. And that energy comes in, and new ways of being and living, creating, producing start to come into view. They start to manifest for you certain opportunities. And when those opportunities come up, you have the ability to sit with them and decide whether or not they're right for you. And normally when we're going along in our programmed state, let's say we've been in the same career for 20 or 30 years, we may not see these opportunities because the days, day in, day out activity have become so expected that that's what we're focused on. We're on a very narrow focus where we lose sight of this greater reality that exists out there. When you could step back, slow it down, and start to detach from those controlling types of programs that were subconscious that are now coming up for your awareness, you can detach from that. You could start to create space, which allows new to come forward, new ways of being, and you spot new opportunities. There are ways to earn a living now that I had no clue even existed a year and a half ago. Things are just starting to come forward, and that's in terms of helping others, creating content and things like that. Just weren't on my radar. But when I stepped back from the old way of doing things and I felt the space, leaned into it and accepted the stillness and got used to it, started to get more comfortable with that, not knowing what the future is going to look like, magic started to happen and things started to appear, things that would not have been on my radar when I was working a year and a half ago as an accountant, because I'm so distracted. Think of this analogy. If you're on a boat, you're cranking full throttle, there's waves. You're very, very focused on steering that boat properly so that you can navigate those waves, right? Full throttle, all your energy's going in, very narrow, trying to get through that without some sort of a disaster happening, right? You're programming. I got to just be focused here and forget about what's going on out here. But once you get past those waves, okay, there's no longer a need to keep that foot on the gas and the throttle going like that and to have that narrow focus, because you're going to just be so pigeonholed. You're going to be so focused on what you've always been focused on, even though the environment's changed, that you're not going to see new opportunities that are coming your way. So when you get past those waves and the water starts to still, that's a great time to kind of pull back on the throttle, let the boat slow down, and allow yourself to feel the surface of the water, to feel the bobbing of the boat, right? And just experience all the scenery, because you're no longer needed. Your attention is no longer needed. Your energy is no longer necessary to be solely focused on the task at hand, which would be, for me, was my old career, my old way of living and doing things. So it took some time for me to get through those waves after I sold my practice, to be able to get into that calm water and pull back on the throttle. And that was a struggle for me. And if you're going through this in your life, drop a comment below. I'm sure it's a struggle for you too. I've talked to so many people that say it's just, it's hard to be able to pull back and slow down. And that's because we're so programmed to keep doing. Okay. We need to be more focused on the feeling. When we can feel and we can heal, we are creating that space and allowing new to drop in, and that new manifests as new opportunities. So as I am now allowing myself to get into that calm water, I'm pulling the throttle back and allowing myself to just be. And of course, sometimes that doesn't feel so good. My ego's come up and saying you should be doing this or that or whatever it thinks I should be doing, right? And I'm feeling that. I'm sitting with that. And I'm grateful for the calm. I'm grateful for my breath. I'm grateful for the fact that I am alive. I am grateful for things that were so important, but were so unacknowledged in the past because I was so distracted with career, with work, with living. And a lot of those ideas that come along with those things were ideas that were given to me by others when I was growing up. So it took these months, this year and a half, to really work to detach from those ideas, those thoughts, those programs, to be able to be okay with being who I am. And that opens me up even further to more guidance, to more intuitive knowing, to a greater connection with my multidimensional aspects, my star beings, star guides, my spirit guides. Okay. So the mind is going to tell you, well, we're wasting time. We're lazy. We're not being productive. Those are programs. I'm not saying to sit and do nothing, but I'm saying we sit, we create the space, we detach from those programs. We see them as stories that were given to us early in life. And we allow that energy to rise in frequency. We create new circuitry, we create new programs, new habits. And that starts off with being able to be present in the now, connect with your body, ground to the planet, feel your life force, feel your energy, and give gratitude for that, what's happening in here. Because when you start to do that, make that a habit and slow it down, you're going to allow the space for new, amazing things to come forward. Things that were outside of your realm of possibility when you were stuck in the lower frequency of the day-to-day unconscious doing, because that's all you've known. Let's make the space, connect with your body, connect with the planet, and allow a whole new set of instructions for a new way of living, a new way of being, one that is higher frequency, one that is multidimensional. Allow that to land and allow that magic to start manifesting. If you have not received my free heart chakra guided meditation, click on the link in the description. Subscribe to this video if you haven't already. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Give it a like and share it. I'd be so grateful. Thank you.